We get questions in. You're going to answer them for us right now. Dino, I'm going to start with you. This is Catherine. So she contacted us on Facebook and asked, can you mix together an oil serum with a night cream and apply as a nightly moisturizer? Or do you have to allow the serum to soak into the skin before applying the cream?
Good question. And
Yeah,
one you get a lot. Okay, there's two ways. There's the full process way, which is to use your serum first, allow it to penetrate for a minute or two, then put on your moisturizer. Okay, because anything thin like a serum or an oil has small molecules and they'll penetrate the skin. Okay. Anything heavier like a cream or a sunscreen needs to kind of form a seal on the skin. So that's the greatest way to do it to get the full impact of your serum. But listen, we don't always have the time.
No.
So
busy.
I would suggest you put a few drops of your serum in your hand. You put your moisturizer in equal amounts. You mix it up. You apply that to your face. You're not going to get as much as you use them separately, but you're going to get a heck of a lot more than if you just use your moisturizer alone.
Got it. And that whole time, all I'm thinking is beard.
And you moisturize the beard too.
Moisturize the beard.
Moisturize the beard.
Are you going to tell us what the beard's about?
We're doing a story.
We're going to do a little story?
And we can't say anything more than that.
Okay. Beard. All right, Bahar, Rachel tweeted us from Winnipeg and wants to know what's the difference between translucent powder, pressed powder, and cream to powder?
That's definitely a valid question. A lot of ladies and gents have asked me this question, so break it down nice and simple. Translucent powder and pressed powder are the format that the powders come in. Cream to powder is a formula, which is a little bit different. I'm going to start at the end.
Okay.
So cream to powder foundation goes on like a liquid or cream foundation, which means it's a little bit thicker, and it has a powdery finish, which means it'll dry a little bit. Some of that tackiness will go away. This is fantastic for people who have a normal to dry skin. If you have oily skin, you might not get the best mix of what's happening on your skin and the formula together. But then we'll look at a pressed powder. A pressed powder is simply a powder that has been pressed into a compact. Sometimes these contain some waxes and silicones in them to actually keep that form. They, more often than not, will have color associated with them in a pressed format. These are good if you want a tiny bit of color coverage, but you also want to take shine away.
Okay.
Now I'm leaving, so I left translucent for last because it is my favorite. So my idea of how powder should be used is that it should be used to take shine away, not to add color. I'm not a fan because that's when your skin becomes cakey looking. When you add a foundation and then you add a colored powder and then things start to muddle and then you sweat, it's a big mess. So translucent powder is essentially a colorless powder. It's supposed to be, quote unquote, a colorless powder. And it is just a finely milled, like almost like a dusting of powder. You use this to set wet product on your face. So concealer if it's wet or foundation if it's wet. Ladies of color, they do have translucent powders that have a slight pigment to them because any woman of color who uses the color, it'll show up white totally, especially in a photo. You might see a flashback of that. We've seen celebrities with translucent powder on their faces. So there are colors existing that are light enough that it won't leave a color deposit, but it'll also take the shine away for any woman's skin tone.
Okay, and what's the best way to apply that? The translucent with the brush?
With a fluffier brush, something a little bit fluffier. You want to deposit a little bit of this powder on your face to take away that shine or to set your makeup, but you don't want to cake the powder on. That's the idea of translucent powder.
Cool. Okay, I like that. All right, Kirk, we got this question from Sarah in Montreal. Should I cleanse my face when I get up in the morning if I do it at night before bed? She would be like really on top of things if she did it twice, wouldn't she? But you don't have to.
No, you don't have to, but it's nice to.
But you should.
I think
Great, now I sound all dirty.
Well, out of your mouth. You know, this is one of those questions that doesn't really have a right or wrong answer. I mean, certainly cleansing at night is a good idea for all that makeup that we just heard about. And, you know, the day's buildup of, you know, the day, to remove it at the end of the day is definitely a good idea. In the morning, though, I mean, I don't know, it's part of my wake-up ritual. Like, I can't just sort of not wash my face. But you know what it is? I think I grew up with oily skin and breakout-prone skin, so cleansing was so important to me to help avoid that. So I think that's why I was always twice a day. I think if you've got drier skin, you may be a little less, you know, needy to cleanse in the morning. But I think it's all about finding the right cleanser for your skin type.
Right.
Making sure it's comfortable for you and you feel good after cleansing. You shouldn't feel dry, tight, or taut, or unnatural. I mean, cleansing should not leave you feeling that way. So whether you do it once or twice a day, as long as you feel clean, healthy, fresh, that's the main thing.
Got it. Depends on your skin type.